Hey, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. I'm Deej from Bungie, and I'll be your host today. And I'm here with my friend Christine Edwards, who manages our Bungie Foundation.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Glad to have you on set.
Thank you so much.
So today's show is going to be dedicated to the Bungie audio team. We're going to meet some of the people that create the sounds that you hear in Destiny, everything from the dialogue to the sound effects to, of course, the music. Before we get into that, Christine is here to help me unveil a new feature on our channel. As you can see, Bungie has become a Twitch partner, which means that we can welcome subscribers from our audience to join a faction that we will dub the Vanguards. So you're all Guardians, but a subscription earns you Vanguard status on our channel. Now today, we have a subscriber badge for you to enjoy and put right next to your name in the chat window. In the weeks to come, we'll be working with our friends at Twitch to create some new chat window emotes, not to be confused with Destiny in-game emotes, but we'll have some Twitch emotes for you to enjoy. And the money that you spend on your subscription is not a thing that we will keep. We will take that money, give it to my friend Christine, who will use that to make the world a better place. Now, to help our audience at home understand what their donations are going to, how their donations are going to impact the real world, give us a little bit of a sense of the mission of the Bungie Foundation.
Yeah, for sure. So the Bungie Foundation's goal is to reduce distress and suffering in children through entertainment. We have a bunch of really amazing partners that we get to work with, two of which are Seattle Children's Hospital and Make-A-Wish.
Okay.
So for Make-A-Wish, over the years, we have had the incredible opportunity to host Wish kids whose one wish is to come visit the studio and hang out with the developers for the day. So we'll bring them in, we'll put them in a mocap suit, we'll put them behind a microphone, we'll send them off to you to do a super sweet studio tour, we'll play Destiny with them and just have a really amazing day.
Yeah, of all the people that I'm sort of one of the main tour guides at Bungie, of all the people that I've shown around our new space, be it a new member of our team or a special partner, these kids who can do anything that they want to do with their day, who can visit any place in the world conceivably, when they decide to come and spend the day with us and see how we make games and learn, how it is we do what we do and meet our people, I mean, it's totally inspiring and humbling. I know a lot of people upstairs agree with me.
They do.
And that's always a real pleasure to be able to, we're so fortunate to do what we do, to work in this place and to make these games and to share a little bit of that good fortune with someone who really needs it, to find their wellness again is super inspiring.
It is.
So thank you for everything you do there.
Thank you, yeah. So we actually we don't have to stop there with Make-A-Wish. We actually have a bunch of other ways that we get to support their Wish kids, specifically through the electronic Wish requests for the Washington and Alaska chapter. So anything that you can plug in, turn on, is purchased and installed by us. So if a kid wants a 70-inch TV, if they want a fully customized gaming PC, if they want to turn their garage into a super sweet decked out DJ booth, we'll purchase all of the components for that, we'll take it over to their house, and we'll install everything for them.
And sometimes that also includes going to the kids where they are if they can't come to us.
Definitely.
And that's where Seattle Children's Hospital comes in.
Yeah, so for Seattle Children's Hospital, we have what's called the iPads for Kids program. And with that program, we fully customize iPads for the patients at the hospital, specifically to cater to their specific interests, their needs, their abilities, and we'll loan them out to them for the duration of their stay. Whether they're there for a day, whether they're there for a couple weeks, whether they're there for 6 months, they get to keep that for as long as they need. And then as soon as they leave, we recycle those and get it off to the next kid.
So it's been said that laughter is the best medicine, but we know that's not true.
No, not anymore. It's a new age of technology.
Digital media, interactive entertainment.
Yes, yeah.
So aside from the ongoing programs that we have, there are also special initiatives. When tragedy strikes in some region of the world, you're able to be nimble and to work with our community to raise funds so that we can come to the aid of people who seriously need it.
Yeah, and that's really where the Destiny community has played a huge role for us in the past. We already know that we have a community that is full of amazing and generous people. Yeah. The fact that we were able to raise over $1 million in under a month with our community to support the relief efforts in Nepal last year is proof of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're a member of our community who participated in the Nepal initiative, if you're wearing those t-shirts in the world, if you're sporting those emblems on your nameplate or in the tower with the shader, we love you. Thank you for being involved. People in our community ask us frequently, how can I get involved? How can I support the Bungie Foundation? So this Twitch subscribership, becoming a Vanguard on our channel, is a great way to do that. And These shows are going to continue week over week. We're going to continue to engage and have some fun on Twitch. This is your opportunity to rally around a great cause and perhaps from time to time give us some new tools that we can use to lend a little bit of structure to the chat window, to the discussion environment here on Twitch. So subscribing is a great way to participate in the conversation. There will be occasions in which we go subscriber-only mode in Twitch. Today we'll be doing that on the other side of the Bungie ViDoc that we're about to play, so that the panel discussion that we're hosting devoted to voice acting will be a great chance for you to ask us some questions. Twitch Master Scott is completely in charge of the controls, so our chat window is a great place to talk to us and to each other. Like everything, it is a privilege, not a right. So this is something that we earn by being respectful to the people who are in our chat window and maintaining a good, constructive conversation. So we're glad that you've joined us. We are going to move on to the topic of today, which is the Bungie audio team.
Sweet.
For those of you who are extremely anxious to learn about the new content that we're creating for Destiny, and we know you're out there, and we love you for your eagerness for new things to do in our game, there are hundreds of people directly overhead working upstairs on the development floor who are doing just that. They're creating new PvE activities and challenges for you to enjoy. They're creating new gear for you to earn and equip on your Guardian, and all sorts of updates to the arsenal and the sandbox that will improve the quality of your Guardian lifestyle. This will be in a spring update that we've talked about on many occasions. We're not going to talk about that today. They're putting the finishing up touches on that update, and they're setting the date. As soon as I have that date, I will be talking to you about it on a show just like this one. So if you're here for news, I'm going to invite you to keep in touch with us on Twitter, Facebook, our forum, our blog. Wherever it is you pay attention to Bungie, we will let you know when it's time to come back and get your brand new video game news. If you love Destiny enough to be curious about how we make it, that's what we're doing today. That's what today's show will be devoted to, and our focus will be the audio designers and the developers who create the things that you hear. So without any further delay, we're going to run this brand new Bungie ViDoc to introduce you to that team and give you a sensibility of what it takes to create a video game and what it takes to create the things that you hear. So without any further delay, let's roll that tape.
Tenors, can you round out your ah a little? 1, 2, 3.
Leave him wondering how the hell you did it.
The process of making sounds for games has actually gotten easier over the years. The challenge is that we need massively more sounds. We have much more complicated engines and interactions and gameplay mechanisms, and you can make no assumptions about how that's going to be heard by the player.
You've got sound effects, which may be something that's pre-existing, or maybe sound design elements that are implemented in cinematics or in the gameplay. There's Foley, things that are actually recorded. And then there's the music, which obviously has a lot to do with the mood and the feel and the experience that the player has as they go through the game. And then all of that's mixed together in either real time through the gameplay, or in cinematics it may be pre-mixed.
Isn't this Eris Morn ship?
Is it? The thing that's most important to us as an audio team is making sure that the person is always hearing the most important thing in the game at the time they're supposed to hear it. So when you're firing your gun, that should be the most important thing that you hear in the game. We found some contacts that allowed us to go to a very remote area of an Air Force base outside of Las Vegas and be able to record some awesome stuff. It was a fantastic trip.
Rolling, yeah.
We just said, let's record as much varied stuff as we possibly can because we'll find a use for it.
See the crosshair? Yeah.
We recorded about 20 plus different types of weapons, from like World War I machine guns 22, 50 cal sniper rifles. One of the cooler things that we did, which I had never heard about before, was some stuff called tannerite, which is used in sort of target shooting at long distances. And it's 2 powders that you mix together. You can drop it on the ground, you can shoot it with a 22 and it's fine, but if you shoot it with a high power rifle, it goes kaboom. We basically used that as was the basis of all of our grenade sounds in the game. It was amazing, it was awesome. One of our contacts here at Bungie runs a couple different machine shops, recording anything from lathes to blow torches. There's a stamper machine that was actually punching out circles of like 1/2-inch sheet metal. That actually turned into the Vex footsteps. Anything we could find, we just like basically going to a place that had lots of machinery and saying like, make that go, and we'd record it.
This is a Eurorack synthesizer, something I've been building for a while. It's a bunch of different pieces of synthesizers you put together, kind of make your own instrument out of. A lot of people use it for music, but it's just for sound design. So I'm playing water sounds out of the laptop. It goes through the system, and I'm going to record it here in Pro Tools. This is the water sound without the effects. And this is it with the start of the effects, the beginning of the effects. That's kind of a good sound. It's not quite Vexy enough for me yet, but of course it can get a lot crazier. I'm increasing the modulation amount that's coming from this thing. It's fun to kind of get out of the box once in a while and get some sort of tactile control going on.
This is actually my instrument. It's called a vibraphone, and normally when you play this, you play with mallets, and so I'm actually using a cello bow. So these are metal keys, and there's an edge on here, and this bow has a lot of rosin. You can just put it on the edge and just slowly draw it across, and it can draw a nice sound out. We want to try and get just some things that we can use for like energy or magical tones. Like if you've been through the Fallen transporters or elevators, we'll actually have some of the sound mixed into them.
I designed this little device. It's essentially a guitar pickup without a guitar. If you play guitar, you know that if you walk with your guitar in front of a light, there's this hum. Most people think that's a bad thing. And what I did was essentially embrace that interference. It's all over the Fallen stuff, but the Stealth Vandal is really, when he's invisible, you'll hear a lot of this crackling and these bizarre melodic tones. That's the interference.
Heart of the Black Garden. Damn! Wish I could have seen it.
In Destiny, I am playing the role of Cade.
What have you got?
When we first sit down with a new character and a new actor, we usually take the first couple of pages with the lines that have a little bit more meat to them so that the actor can play with the character and find the voice.
It's just kind of working together with everybody to kind of get in that pocket of, this is her, okay, we found her, now let's go from there.
The fact that you only have your voice to play with might concentrate your mind in a way that perhaps it wouldn't if you were in vision.
Centuries after the coming of the Traveler, those enemies found us.
I play the Queen of the Reef, Mara Sav. She is icily resolved. She will do what she has to do for what she believes in.
Mara Sav bows to no one.
We are Elixir.
The kind of gravel and some of the odd little ornaments that I added into it, I want to go for something that has that's got some of that kind of what's called a glottal fry.
You cannot face this alone.
When I came to discover the voice of Eris, I thought about despair and darkness, very dark and disturbed. And sonically, that just put it in a low register for me, like almost like a soothsayer, so to speak.
I will not fail.
War is the only constant, Guardians.
Transmission received and verified.
You're still in this fight.
Unit 9940 GM, ready to help.
If the Queen wants it, then do it.
You've changed everything, Guardian.
For organic life to persist, it requires constant adaptation.
You have a stack of lines to say so that they have options for each one. Is it going to be a little more uptight? Is it going to be a little more relaxed? Do they have the options they can slide in there?
Don't look at me. Better say something. Don't look at me. Better say something.
Dynamic dialogue is a really cool thing because what we can do is create a bucket of 4 or 5 different lines.
You say each one in a couple of different ways.
Game decides that one of those lines needs to be played, it'll just pull one of them randomly.
Let's get started.
Am I standing next to them? Have I run off across the map? Are we in combat? Are we not in combat?
As a player plays that more than once, they won't hear the same dialogue every time.
We don't necessarily have a concept of a take is a take. A take is a piece that you can make into a different take sometimes because it turned out you needed something later, long after the session that you thought you were gonna need.
I hope we can hunt together again someday.
I need to hear something good. Anything.
To what do we owe this honor?
That's one of the hardest parts about being able to put together dynamic dialogue in a game is making sure that the actor stays consistent.
Last call. Closing down. End of shift.
So that this line can follow that line, can follow that line, and it all makes sense.
I understand. Your Grace.
Good luck.
Yeah, so what you're seeing here is the audio engine in action. We can see what sounds are playing when with this little text readout here on the screen. The mix is the most important part. You can have a lot of great content, but if you don't get the game mixed right, then the players have a horrible experience. Either the music doesn't have the impact it needs to have.
Thank you for your input, Eris.
Or you can't understand the dialogue, which ruins your story experience. You don't know what's going on. Or, you know, if there's too much high end in a weapon sound, it can literally hurt people if you don't do your job right.
For the gameplay, the engine is pretty much the way everything is mixed.
It's very powerful in the way that allows us to monitor things and for us to be able to manipulate audio in the game.
We have a way of choosing which sound plays at what time based on what the player needs to know or needs to hear or what just is cool.
So every time the player plays, it's essentially mixing sound real time based on certain preset mix settings.
What we see right here is basically all the emitters I'm playing in the world. They kind of vary in color. It's telling me the state that they're in. Some of them that are gray, for example, I've totally turned off because they're too far away or not important enough. The yellow is something that is active that we've turned off because there's so many other projectile sounds. You know, you only need to hear about 2 or 3 of this to get an idea of what's going on. What results is all the blue sounds. These are all the sounds providing a layer that's interesting to what is currently going on the screen.
If something's not playing and we think it should be, we can look and see if the game thinks it's there, then we might know it's in our mix, or if it's not there at all, then we know it's probably inside in the game engine somewhere. It's not being called, or it's not hooked up, or it's going on. Because once you've got hundreds of sounds all piled up, it's really hard sometimes to know exactly what's causing the symptom.
Destiny has such a sweeping story. The music that's tragic, it's epic, and it continues to evolve over time. With the first Destiny, we were maybe a little more on a grand scale, whereas on Taken King, we went a little more personal and dark.
Music helps the sound of the game by scoring the emotion of the experience.
Slayer of my son!
Hopefully without doing it so overtly that people know what's happening. You want to give it a bit of a tilt in the direction. If it's dark, you want the music to kind of push it in that direction.
When we very first started writing for Destiny, we didn't really know yet what the world was. I mean, we're using MIDI instruments or sampled instruments or whatever just to get the ideas across.
will sketch out a piece of music that you can actually hear, and then oftentimes that will get re-recorded later with live musicians.
There's a very sort of exciting live feel to it that you just can't replicate in MIDI.
My goal, obviously, is to make the best music that we can and help it really complement the gameplay and the stories that are implemented, and really make it, you know, sound and feel right.
Yes, and a lot of the music plays under guns firing and bombs going off and all that stuff, but that's the game biz, man. That's okay. I love knowing it's there, even when you can't hear it because the explosions are too loud. I know it's there. I know it's there, and it makes me happy.
I love that C. Paul and a few others totally went balls to the wall on a bunch of different levels and sort of took Bungie music in a way that we haven't been to in the past. If you've played any of The Moon, you get a little of this going on.
It's like Marilyn Manson meets EDM is how I saw a fan that played the beta describe it.
Yeah, that works for me. It meets Marilyn Manson. I call him C. Paul Resner at the moment. Don't tell him I said that.
I've definitely heard a Nine Inch Nails quality in the stuff that he has written for the Hive.
I didn't think of that as a term, but that basically applies to what that music is, and it's something completely foreign to Bungie games in the past. That was very gratifying because I feel like I brought something new to what the Bungie audio experience is and can be.
A lot of times when you're building something, it's not until you're done that you realize what you were trying to build in the first place.
You've got this blank canvas to create a universe from scratch and then make it sound like that universe.
It was a really challenging task, for sure, for us to basically throw out everything we'd done for 10 years as far as an audio team goes and all the code base that we'd had prior to this and go to a brand new engine and make a brand new game.
Bungie's gotten so much bigger, but Bungie still maintains the philosophy of iteration until it's right. There's a system there to build on, and there's a lot of depth to that.
Destiny is still evolving. We're still deciding what Destiny is as we go. I'm a true believer, and I want to be here for this for a while. I'm having fun.
I enjoy putting it all together and making it all come to life.
Scene, as they say, right? As they say on the stage. Welcome back. We're live from the studio again, and for the second act of our show today about the Bungie audio team, we're going to have a live panel discussion about voice acting. And
This is live?
This is live.
Oh
this
my
is
God.
live. So we have a rated T for teen game, so let's all sort of compose ourselves. Allow me to introduce you to our special guests, the people who've joined us for the panel. Let's see. Mirror image from left to right. We're going to start over here with C. Paul Johnson, who is Bungie's audio director. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
Good to have you. Give a shout out to our audience and tell them, what does it mean to be a Bungie audio director? What's your lifestyle? What do you do?
Hey everybody. Well, my job is to be creatively responsible for all of the sound that's in the game. So, and the basics of my job is to play the game a lot, understand the story, understand what the audio needs are for our game, and make sure that our team is creating the best stuff we can for the game that we're making.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I just had somebody in our chat ask you to revert to the original weapon balance. Is that what you do at Bungie?
No, the sounds have not changed.
The sounds have not changed. They've only gotten better. Audio balance in the games. Yeah. If you're going to ask us questions, think about the things that you hear in the game. Yeah. These are our subject matter experts, and we hope to answer some of those questions. We do have Cosmo, who is surveying the chat window, and I'm hoping that he's going to give us some really juicy topics of conversation so that we can include you in this dialogue. Introducing our next panel discusser, we have Morla Gorondona.
Yes.
The
I like
voice
it when you
of
say it with the R too.
Morla Gorondona.
That's fun.
If I see a double R, I have to
I
roll
like
on that. Morla is obviously the voice of Eris Morn.
It's a true story.
And in the pre-show, there was somebody asking questions in our chat window here. What is your favorite line of dialogue from the game?
That's a good question. I think a fan favorite is definitely fingertips on the surface of my mind.
Thank you for your input.
Yeah, right, exactly. But me, I love the 1 little, 2 little, 3 little hive. You've killed so many, now none are alive.
Fantastic.
Which
I wrote that line.
incidentally,
That's a good line.
That's a good
Audio
line.
director
It's
and
a lot of
writer.
fun.
That's right.
Right.
It was
It's a
live.
good
We did
line.
that one live.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
We just kind of settled it in very nicely.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me here.
And then moving along, we have Kirsten Potter.
Hello.
Who is the voice of Mara Sav, Queen of the Arif, Queen of the Awoken.
Queen of the Universe.
Queen
I
of
think,
the
just-
Universe.
if you want to just expand it a
Yeah,
little.
we've had a field promotion right here on the show.
Just, internally.
We need to write that.
That's right.
Get on that.
That's right.
What would you say is your favorite line of dialogue from your character in the game?
It's got to be Marasav bows to no one. Because, that's awesome.
It is very indicative of the character, too.
Yes, yes, absolutely. She's formidable, I think.
And then last, but certainly not least, we have CJ Cowan.
Oh, I'm the least.
No, certainly not. In fact, you are the creative story lead, correct?
That is correct.
Brand new title for you.
It is a fairly new title. yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Another
Thank you.
field promotion to announce right here.
Apparently, it's not Queen of the Universe, but I guess it'll do.
It'll have to do. Yeah, we don't really have
King of Story.
King of Story, Minister of Fiction.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Minister of Fiction.
We don't have dominion over the entire universe yet at Bungie. Still working on world domination. So
Right.
creative lead of story we'll have to do for now. But give us a sense of what that means in terms of your day-to-day.
Well, the story team is actually a pretty new org. We're just over a year in for this group of people that have become known as the story team, where we've been hiring a bunch of people, bunch of writers and producers, and across the board. We're up to over 40 now, I think. And the story team's responsibility is, in a studio of 700, making sure we're all telling the same story instead of a bunch of different ones. Moving everything forward. So yeah, that's my role.
Fantastic. So we're going to talk pretty exclusively, given our special guests, about voice acting today. And a joke that I've always been fond of is, how many actors does it take to screw in a light bulb? And the answer is 100. 1 to screw in the light bulb, and then 99 to stand off in the wings and say, I could have done that so much better if only I'd been cast.
Yeah, there's that.
Yes.
I could have told that better.
You could have told that joke.
Wow,
So
it starts
meta.
now.
So meta.
All right.
But you have been cast,
No.
and you do own these characters, and there are many people in our community who play the game who respond so deeply to your voice. You add such a human element to our game. How did you come to own these roles? How did you come to get cast in Destiny?
Oh gosh, it was cast in Destiny was actually it's an interesting story. I started out helping create the vocal identity of the Hive. So I started out working in sound design and just coming up with those screeches and those sounds of the Hive. And I figured that was it for me. I was like, wow, I get to be a part of Destiny, and that's cool. Done. And later, I was approached for Eris, and the story I was told is that they wanted, or Destiny wanted, Bungie wanted someone who had an intimate relationship with a Hive. So it made sense to come to me about it, and it was I auditioned just like everyone else auditions, and Eris was born from that.
See, Paul, what's that casting process like for you, from your side?
Well, from our side, the story guys come up with character descriptions, and we send out a casting call through, the agencies that we use, get back options, and then see who's got the experience and also the voice print that we think is appropriate. And with Eris, we'd actually gone through a whole casting call. We didn't, for some reason, think of that thing at first, and it just wasn't working for us. And they were like, maybe there's this poetic thing where the sound of the Hive is also the Hive's bane, which is the name of Eris, right?
Yeah.
And it just landed really solidly. It was super awesome.
So in any one encounter in the game, if Eris is talking to us over comm channels and we're fighting the Hive, I can hear your voice. I can hear you in the sounds of the thrall that are attacking. I can hear you in the sounds of the rounds that the boomers are launching that are flying right past my ear. I mean, how many different like sound effects do you contribute to in that encounter?
Oh, I don't know.
Like most of them. Like the Hive influenced weapons, the screamy sounds in the tails came out of Morla's sound design session. The boomer projectiles as they fly by, all of the sort of atmospheric back ends of the sounds have elements from her session in it. All of the Hive Wizard dialogue as they scream at you and when they die and scream their death, right? All of that, it's all Eris.
Including Omnigul, right?
Armora. What's that?
Omnigul too, right?
Yes, she played Omnigul as well at the same time, right?
Has that been difficult to deal with, like a multiple personality disorder?
I'm in therapy, but we're working through it.
And you also did the sound effects for the gunfire of the Suros regime.
That's right.
Which is an exotic auto rifle.
Right.
Now I'm getting
She's also the sound of the Death Singer's song in Taken King.
That's right.
When you're at not Crota, Crota's tomb, and there's the four singers. Like that was the sound of Eris as well.
Quite a range.
Yeah.
Quite a range. And then on to you, Your Highness.
I just play one thing. Like that's all I do. Just one.
But you're the queen of the universe.
That's right.
I guess, but like I'm not a bomb or anything.
You said it. You said it. You got to own up to it.
All right.
So how did you come to work with these gentlemen at Bungie?
It wasn't exactly an accident, but it was unexpected. I had just moved up to Seattle from Los Angeles. I got brought in to audition for a voice thing, which I'd done a lot in LA. I was 7.5 months pregnant. So I assumed it was just voice.
Yeah.
And I remember coming into the room. Do you remember this?
That.
This was so bizarre. Right. So I walked into the room and I see a table of weapons and a guy that I'm supposed to play the scene with. And it was pretty clear that I was actually supposed to get up and play the scene. So I said, can I have 5 minutes to go memorize these pages? I went out, I memorized, I came back in, and I thought, all right, screw it, let's just do this. And I picked up a weapon. I picked up a knife, a big knife. She was, the queen was a bit more hands-on and aggressive in this incarnation. And I grabbed the guy by, I think, the hair, and brought him into me and put the knife up to his throat and did all my sassy pirate queen lines. And I went to sort of take him out. I brought him a little closer to take him out with the knife. I mean, for, pretend. And my distended fetus that was growing in my abdomen at the time, before I had a chance to eliminate him with my weapon, took him out, like with my stomach, knocked the poor man. I recall it was to the ground. I don't know if it was. Okay,
We've got video of this.
Do you really? Oh God.
Now they're all going to demand to see that.
That's right.
What became a she, took him out first, and so together, my uterus and I got him eliminated. And
It's a family affair.
I got the part, and they waited to shoot our first mocap session until after I gave birth, which was great. Although
we did put you in a suit, didn't we?
Oh no, it didn't fit.
That's right.
But we were going to shoot the week I was due, because everybody was in a hurry to get started, and the problem was if the extra movement would possibly induce labor. But my husband is a first responder here in downtown Bellevue, and we figured, well, if you call 911, at least the dad will make it for the bus.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, it was a little crazy. That was crazy. So that's how I got the part.
So aside from not being pregnant,
Yes.
How has your approach to the Queen's character changed over time?
She's evolved a lot. So I started with this team how old's Miller? 4.5 years ago. And at that time, I had a dagger. I think I had another weapon. I had lots of weapons.
You did.
I was fighting people physically. I loved it. I mean, it was really angry, sassy, tempestuous pirate woman. And the powers that be analyzed and reanalyzed and decided this was not where this game was going. And there was a big break, and then after a long gap, we came back in, and we're sitting around a table, and it was a bunch of, really, I was very intimidated, a bunch of people I didn't recognize, and this is the new story. And she's feminine, she's removed, she's soft, I think was one of the words I was given. I've never been told to be soft, particularly before. She's light, she's vulnerable, delicate, and I thought, wow, you've got the wrong gal. And I told the table, I said, look, I can recommend a handful of actresses in Seattle and LA that I've worked with who are outstanding, who could do soft and delicate for you a lot better than I could. I can give you their names and numbers, but it's not what I do. Vulnerable, yes, but not this. It just seems so breakable.
Yeah.
And I'd have to act really hard to seem that breakable.
Yeah. It's hard to picture the Queen as an ingenue.
Well, that was it exactly. It's like, I've played my Perdidas and I've done my Juliets and I loved them, but I'm heavier now.
You bowed to no one.
Well, we hadn't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
So we took a break and I thought, I just talked myself out of the coolest gig I've ever had. And we came back after a break and I was not fired. And they said that the Queen is having a journey. And this is the beginning, and don't show all your cards at the first, in the first round. And that made so much sense.
Got big plans for you.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you to get that feedback from a player and to be like, okay, well, this person doesn't want to play that role that way. We want this person to play the role. Like, how do you incorporate that into your process?
It made us love Kirsten even more, and we'd spent 2 or 3 years working on the previous version of the Queen, where she was the pirate that she described, and very powerful, and had the lower, deeper voice, and really got gritty in an amazing way. And so we'd seen that, we knew that you had that in you, and we felt like if we could start at a different spot and get to that eventually, and this is totally spoiling like Destiny 2020 or something, but when we get to that world down the road where that original pirate queen comes out, I think it's gonna be a really powerful moment.
Fantastic. So when you're
spoilers.
When you're both on the mic, who is it that is controlling that session? Is that you, Paul? Is it people that work with you on your team?
Sometimes, yeah. We tend to do lots of sessions all in a big bulk, and so we end up having multiple voice directors, and sometimes it's me. A lot of times when we're in Seattle, it's me. And then when we're working in LA, it's, we use voice directors from the agency we use called Blind Light. I guess they're an agency. That's not what the right word, but they help us put everything together.
Yeah.
And then CJ, a lot of the time goes down and produces the sessions, right? And so he's not directly working with the actors generally. It's usually the voice director, so me or one of the guys down in LA. But he's making sure that what we're getting is in line with the story we're trying to tell.
Yeah.
So that's generally how it works.
And you're both local, so we're able to bring you right here into the studio. We have recording facilities right here inside Bungie. You saw some of those during the ViDoc.
Yeah.
Favorite stories from visiting Bungie and being in the booth and working with these jokers?
It's always
these gentlemen, these esteemed colleagues.
Yeah.
It's always fun. It's very much like visiting friends, visiting family, and I think I don't know. Story, the cookies. Cookies is a good story.
Yes, Marla brought us cookies. It was wonderful.
She gets to play all the parts.
I know.
Baked good.
It was awesome.
I like to bake. I like to bake.
They were still warm.
I made a bunch of batches and brought them in.
Yeah.
It was a later session, so the cookies went straight from the oven to Bungie.
Yep.
Did you run any red lights so that they'd be still warm? When
Heck
you
yeah. Heck yeah. I got pulled over, but I was like, I'm going to Bungie. It's okay. I'm like, all right, it's no problem.
Are those cookies still warm? Follow me.
Not for long.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is with 700 people in the studio, you spend all that time baking cookies and they're gone like that.
Yeah.
As soon as they left the booth.
I still get people like, I haven't had any cookies yet. When are they coming back? Like,
wow.
Yeah.
You guys are into cookies.
That's right.
All
Yeah.
right.
Did you bring us any cookies?
You wouldn't want my cookies.
Okay,
I guarantee.
okay, all right.
I'll bring you some scotch. I can do that, but cookies.
Scotch, okay.
Right?
Okay,
Now
we're
I've
talking.
said it out loud.
I don't have a favorite moment in a session though, because like both Morla and Kirsten, they come in and they just become that character, and it's like this awesome performance to watch, right? And like, for me, it's the most fun we get to have. That and recording orchestral music, right? Those are the best times working in game audio. So.
Well, like you said before, you play a lot of the game.
Yeah.
So, being a fan of our own product is a huge luxury that we have here at Bungie. So, when a character steps out of the game that we love to play, and there they are on the other side of the glass, and you've got your fingers on the on the slides and all that stuff, it's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just find it a much more welcoming environment than I'm used to. I was telling I think it was theater director the other day that you go into a Bungie session, it's like, wow, that was great. That was like, you really got that line, and you just feel so validated and so much cared for. And then you go to your theater rehearsal, it's like, can you just do that again? Just like, I don't know, different. It's like, okay.
Wow, we should be harder on them.
No, it's like, theater's its own beast, and that's great. But it's nice to get a little validation. Yeah, it's good.
And you mentioned before that you've done a lot of the motion capture for the character of Mara Sob.
Yeah.
So not just the voice, but you also contribute to the way she carries herself, the way she moves, the way she occupies the space. Talk to us a little bit about that. Like, how is that different than being on a stage or being in a booth? It's a little bit of both, right?
It is. Actually, theater is a pretty close tie-in for that kind of work, especially in the round, because when we would record, there'd be, I think, a dozen cameras siphoned around the room, so you're sort of playing to everywhere. It's so much fun.
Okay.
And you really get to use your imagination, because you'll see the piece of artwork about what this amazing throne room, whatever, looks like. And we've got a little mini bleacher and a tennis ball duct taped to some 2x4. It's like not the real, but you get to, you're a kid playing pretend again, so you see the throne room, and it's a blast. But I remember the first time I got to see the work that is done after our work. When you've got all this stuff and the cape and the stuff, and there was the walk. I don't know if this ever even made it into the game, but there was this walk down the stairs. And I remember watching it going and laughing, because she kind of slithers down the stairs, and I said, you guys CGI'd the hell out of that to get that walk, and they all started laughing. They were like, no, that's just you.
That's all you.
That was you. I don't walk like that.
Yeah.
You did when you were her. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, the thing that we found on the mocap side is that the stage actors that we've worked with have such a good sense of how their body moves, because they need to have a performance that can be read from the back of the theater, and so a lot of what you guys do is body language, and you're able to adjust to those notes really quickly because you're very aware of how you're moving.
It is fascinating to try to absorb someone else's way of moving. We all have such a unique movement signature that to try to be that other way it's fun.
And I think there's a handicap involved here, because a lot of actors will tell you the costume you wear, the shoes you wear, help you connect to the character. If you're wearing stormtrooper armor, it's going to create a very different performance than if you're wearing Renaissance era clothing with flowing cuffs and a corset and all that stuff. You get a spandex suit
with golf balls,
with reflective little points of light all over the place, and all that would help you connect to is like a Pilates instructor. So it's really, the mind game is a huge part of it.
You do have to pretend a lot.
Okay.
And you get shoes, like the two, you see all these men sneakers, and then you'd see the ladies' shoes, and that helps. But you pretend a lot. You look at the artwork. They give you so much. We'd get a nice debriefing session before we'd start, where you'd see, you might hear a snippet of music, and you'd see some of the paintings of what the world is, and it's just kind of brings you into the new reality. It's fun. Cool.
I'm going to change the topic real quick, and I'm going to go full talk show right now. So I'm going to ask Twitch Master Scott to help me out with this for just a moment, because we're going to play a clip.
Whoa.
So I have a question from a member of our community here, Rhino666. It's got some interesting ideas. about
Rhino
himself.
Devil.
Yeah, this is a devilish question. I'm going to give, we're going to answer this question after chat, but the question is, and then we're going to roll the clip of the Hall of Vanguards, you know, your conversation with the Vanguards from the Taken King. The question is, do the voice actors do one-on-one sessions, or do they get to act together? And to frame up why that question is important, let's roll this clip and check out this scene from Destiny: The Taken King.
My contacts near Saturn say the weapon fired only once.
It's not like the Queen to attack a superior force.
How could she have known? How could anyone? We need a warlock inside the Dreadnought.
Here we go. Our first priority must be to protect the city. Our Guardian got a good look on Phobos. Whatever it was, it turned Cabal against Cabal, wiped out that base in minutes. How long would we last?
Until we understand what we're dealing with.
They are taken.
Eris, get your rock off my map.
It hasn't spoken since Crota fell. It speaks now because Oryx has arrived, come to fulfill the final covenant of his son.
But why fight the Cabal?
Not fighting. Taking. Controlling their will.
So we focus on his army. Kill these Taken until he's all that's left.
Whatever you kill, Oryx will replace.
The Dreadnought, then. How do we get past that weapon?
Without ending up like the Awoken.
I gotta go, see about a ship.
Cade, our discussion is not yet concluded.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm leaving.
Get your rock off my map. So the question was, what's it like to work with the other actors? Do you get to work with the other actors, or do you?
For my part,
Yeah.
all my sessions have been myself, one mic, one actor, one mic, and so it's just been me.
So how do you put yourself in the frame of mind to be able to, I mean, you've done theater work, you've done stage work, you play off of the actors, you feed off of their energy, you're making eye contact, you're responding in a way that perfectly feeds off of their line.
Right.
How do you put yourself in a mental space where you can deliver a performance where you're basically playing off of dead air?
Yeah, having that background of working in theater, making that switch to VO and kind of working in a vacuum it's been a transition, but it's a skill. It's a skill that you learn, and doing it quickly, and seeing the script for the first time in session. Oftentimes that's the case, and just making really big choices and trusting that the direction that's given ahead of time is going to inform the line, and that, and trusting myself as an actor that I'm going to be able to deliver it, and then trusting that if it's not what they want, that they'll let me know.
Okay.
And we try to help, when it's a response, we'll feed the line ahead of time, so she's not responding to dead air, she's responding to my version of get your map off. Get your rock off that map,
which is
amazing.
version.
Yeah.
Do you throw your heart into it? Or
I,
you're like,
I
"Get your
try,
rock off
but
my map."
they're still making fun of me.
Sequel does a great Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, in the table reads, I played Cade, and it was amazing.
Recast.
Yeah, instantly. And then when we do have video, we generally will play it for them, right? And so that they can see how the scene plays out. And those are the two ways that we try to help. But yeah.
More often than not, we'll nail down what we're looking for from the characterization of that particular line and really get in the ballpark of that. And then to cover our butt, we'll get it faster and slower and a little bit louder and a little bit softer, and then we'll have a bunch of different versions of that particular line, and then we'll come back to the studio after all the actors have recorded and start playing. It's kind of like building a puzzle of oh, this particular take goes really well with that particular take, and so it does take a little bit away from you guys, which I'm sad about, because well, you haven't really experienced this because on the mocap stage we grab all the audio. So it is real time.
We've done some booth sessions where it's like, I don't know which one he's going to pick. I like
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That might not fit in the puzzle.
Right. And oftentimes the thing that is my favorite in the session, once we get it back, is like, oh wow, no, that doesn't work at all because there's this line that is amazing.
That's amazing, but it's way too much for that moment. Or whatever.
In reference to what comes before.
And we never splice 3 lines together to make one perfect line.
You never do that.
Well, that's why when giving the 3 options, it's and that's maybe something that people don't know, is that it's generally 3 versions of a line and try to make them as dynamic and different as possible so that there's something to pull from.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pivot off of the dynamic notion. You talked a little bit during the ViDoc about the fact that we get dynamic dialogue from these characters. So if we approach Eris Morn in the tower, be it through the story arc in Crota's End, or The Dark Below, or during The Taken King, Eris is sort of aware of our progression through the story. Eris is aware of our evolution as a guardian.
Yeah, not only Eris, every character in the game has that ability. We've built a pretty neat dialogue system that can digest where you are in the investment game and where you are in the story and what your class is and what your race is and what time it is, because there's the dynamic weather system, and those are all things that we can use to do switches on the dialogue, right? So we'll do these big sessions with these guys and other people where here's 1,000 lines for you to read, one off, right? And we use that to fill out this whole world. So if you just beat the raid, you go back to Eris and she knows that, right? Which is awesome.
So how do you protect your performance? You're given 1,000 line of dialogue.
It's more like it's supposed to be 500, but we always put too many in.
Sure, exactly. Well, it's like a sculpture. You start with a whole slab of marble, and then you whittle down to, and that's something that I think, we could do a better job of explaining to the community. People talk about cut content. I want to see the stuff that you're talking about. There's certain things that we will achieve that just don't end up being perfect for the product that we end up wanting to create. So you give yourself 100 lines, and if you whittle it down to 50, those are the best. Anybody who's ever edited an essay or anybody who's ever taken an eraser to a sketch understands the concept of iteration and sort of narrowing in on the best stuff. And that's really a lot of what we do here at Bungie. But for your part, you have to go in and you have to record all 1,000 lines of dialogue. Tell me what it was like when Crota died, or like, I'm aware that you're a badass and you got a shiny new gun, or what, I think I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
You think that's a heck of a Soros regime.
No more writing for Deej.
That's the
No, I got some good ideas for a video game. But how do you? I think if I was asked to record 1,000 lines of dialogue after a while, I'd just be like, yeah, you did good. Okay, yeah, it's like, how do you guard your performance and how do you keep your energy up during that much voice acting?
Well, it's exciting. The lines are exciting, and the character is exciting, and I believe in the game, and so it's just wanting to make sure that every line is important. I don't know where it's going to fall in the game. So I want to make sure that everything has the energy that it needs. I mean, it's part of the session. It's just making sure that you maintain energy, making sure that my voice is warmed up sufficiently, that I have everything that I need to assure the energy, and that I don't lose my voice at the end. It's important. So therefore, the energy has to. I mean, there's what's the alternative?
Morla could do 2,000.
2,000, 3,000?
Yeah.
How long does a session like that last?
They're 4-hour sessions.
4-hour sessions.
4-hour sessions.
Yeah.
15-minute break every hour, that kind of standard thing.
Sometimes more when she brings cookies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of Eris Morn to take home with you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I don't even know if it's that much more talking than a normal session where you're doing 300 lines of mission dialogue, right? Because that ambient dialogue or dynamic dialogue, you don't go back and get you don't do multiple takes of each one. You just cruise through it, right? Because we've got extra, so it's you don't have to keep the bad takes. You don't have to go back there. You know what I mean? To get that stuff.
There's no bad takes.
There are no, of course.
Never.
Never. It doesn't feel like it's that long. It really, it doesn't.
When I
it
forget
doesn't
to
feel
hit
like
record, we don't have to go back.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my fault. But,
It goes so quickly.
Yeah. Do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
and the way we do try to help is we start with the low energy lines, and then in the second, if it's divided into quarters, the second quarter is the stuff where you're loud, so you're warmed up, and you have to push, and then we go back to the stuff that's not as heavy, so that we're not, hey, it's 3 hours of talking, and then, hey, now it's time to scream for an hour, right? We try not to do that.
Yeah, break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back into talk show mode.
Okay.
It'll be your turn on the hot seat.
Okay.
Twitch Master Scott, if you could prepare but not roll yet, the highlight reel for the Queen. I'm going to actually ask a question from arguably one of your biggest fans. There is a member of our community. Her name is Air Bubbles Cosplay. I don't know if you've seen her rendition of Mara Sov. I've met this young lady at several conventions. She dresses up in full Queen of the Reef regalia.
I have seen a photo of this. It is amazing.
Yes, it is amazing.
Yes.
And she's in our chat right now. And on the other side of this clip, we're going to have you talk to Air Bubbles. I'm sure that's not her real
don't
name.
think?
No.
Okay.
We all have assumed identities in our community for our own safety. We all tweet and chat from an undisclosed location. But,
Can I just comment on that? Because I didn't recall meeting you prior to this morning, but I've communicated with you in various modes, and I had a very different image of what Deej looked like. I was picturing like a 6'5" African-American man with like cheekbones and probably headphones on that was going to really scare the shit out of me when I got here today. And so I was like, he looks like a theater guy and like a stand-up comedian. This is so much safer
I'm just a basic white dude.
No, it was amazing because I just Deej and the hip. I don't know.
If I could be a 6'5" African American with cheekbones,
you're gorgeous. I've been picturing you.
I can dream. Someday maybe. Back to Air Bubbles. Not her real name.
Right.
Her question is, can the actresses tell us when they get ready for a scene, how do they prep or step into character? So let's take a look at this scene. Okay. We'll have you both answer this question. But when we come back from this clip, we'll have you tell us exactly how you got into this character and right before playing the scene.
Okay.
So, Scott, roll clip.
I remember everything about the day I was born. I still bear the scars. The Awoken are my family now. And I am their queen. We fought to keep our beautiful creation safe. And now this beast has come, claiming to be king. Mara Sov bows to no one. You and I know how this ends. We've known since you escaped from that pit. The Awoken have played their part. This was all part of the plan. Guide them, my hidden friend. It is all up to you now.
So the queen is dead, but long live the queen.
Right, yeah.
Actually, CJ, is the queen dead? Chat wants to know. Is the queen dead?
I don't know. Actually, that's what's great about it.
Yeah, you have a blank canvas upon which we can paint for the next 10 years.
I can't spoil anything if I don't know.
Okay, very good. Back to Air Bubble's original question. That's a heavy scene.
Yeah.
Marasov going to war, falling in battle. Whether or not she'll ever get back up is a question to be answered in a future release of Destiny.
Yeah.
But how do you prepare for something that heavy? How do you step into a mocap studio or a booth and deliver a performance with that much weight and gravity?
That one was done in the booth. We had done a version of that scene in mocap that was very different. And with that one, you just get to, I mean, to me, the best acting, you don't do any acting. You don't do any acting. Just respond. Just take whatever's given to you and respond to it as you think she would. So I had a lot to respond to in both the booth take and in this take, or the booth take and the mocap take that didn't get used. And I don't know. I do a lot of living inside my own mind.
Sure.
And the story gets described to you, and you imagine it. And I don't know, the writing was beautiful. It makes it so much easier to work with good writing. I've done both, and I prefer good writing. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's pretend. It's the best gig in the world, because what would you do? And you get to explore that, and you get a couple takes at it, and it's just so much fun to understand her. And I've gotten to live with her for 4 years now. And obviously she's evolving, or, she's dead. But you get a sense of her, you grow with her, and it's exciting when she takes an unexpected turn.
So prior to a session like that, what would you equip a voice artist with so that they have an understanding of what you need?
Well, unfortunately, we usually come in with our lines pretty hot, so, like the day before. Now, we have a lot of discussions about, what those, especially a line like the ones we're talking about here, that are so important, that are the start of the game and the cinematic beginning, right? And those lines are the hardest lines to really land on. And there's tons and tons of discussion. We do a lot of table reads internally with our bad acting. And then we walk into the booth with, these two ladies are great examples where you put that line in front of them, and it's been in our heads for a few months. And we all kind of, the writers and ourselves kind of have our own idea of what that line's going to sound like. And then the second you guys say it, it's so much better than anything that we had imagined. And then it gets better from there, because then we start riffing on it, we start talking about it, you guys have new ideas about it, and it just really elevates everything. It's always a pleasure to watch.
That's cool.
That particular session, I remember we made sure that was all we were doing that session, so that there was plenty of time to get that right, because it mattered. So we weren't doing 500 lines of ambient dialogue right before or after that. Right? We had plenty of time to do that.
Pretty important scene. I mean, it's one of the first things that they'll see playing the game. It's going to set the mood and the tenor for the entire player experience over however many untold hundreds of hours.
Yeah, and I remember, I mean, I'm pretty sure we were done in an hour, but
We did finish that one.
we got it
quickly.
done, but we made sure there was plenty of time to do it, and we try to give all the context that we possibly can in advance so that these guys can be ready.
Yeah.
So Morla, what's your pre-show process? You're playing a very different type of character. What do you do to get into the right mindsets before you can deliver Eris to the mic?
Well, Eris was described to me, it was such a clear. Originally, it was I had such a clear vision of her experiences, and one of the ideas that was given to me was that she, the idea of going down into the pit, going into this place where you really should be running away from. It actually reminded me of. I'm from New Orleans originally, and it reminded me of returning to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and like going into this place that everyone is supposed to be running away from. And that just really, that idea stuck with me, and that took me to a place vocally that I actually am speaking in right now.
Yeah, sure.
And so before sessions, I allow myself to go there. I allow myself to experience and remember what that is, what that was like going down I-10, heading south on I-10. And I also have some music that I listen to. I have my vocal warm-up that I do for sure. And then in addition to that, I have some music that I listen to. There's a song by Dead Can Dance called Indus that always gets me right into the headspace for Eris.
While she's baking cookies.
While I'm baking cookies.
That's right.
And then, I'm thinking about, it's weird. It's about juxtaposition, really, actually.
That's right.
I'm curious how many people in our audience are now like opening a separate browser window, going to YouTube,
Right.
Dead Can Dance.
Yeah. Indus. Yeah.
Indus is spelled
INDUS.
keyword search go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like my trigger song, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I do.
Cool. So I think one of the final questions that I'd like to pull from our audience is, something that's interesting, because we have so many people in our community who are always asking, how can I work at Bungie, or how can I make video games, or what should I study in college, or somebody says, I want to make video games for a living. My next question is always, to do what?
Right.
Like,
There's
are
a
you
lot
good
of
at
jobs.
art? Are you good at math? Are you good at telling people what to do? Are you good at...
That's a job.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Are you good at reading tweets on the internet?
There you go.
Because I read them all.
I'm the best tweet reader.
But we have a member of our audience, and their name is Happy OO. I'm assuming they just want happy, but they needed a unique name. This is why clans are so very, very valuable, because that clan. But I digress. Happy would like to know. I would like to ask what it takes to be a voice actor. We'll have you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. All right. So again, it's the same kind of thing. A voice actor for what?
Right.
So do you want to work in commercials, in narration, animation? I chose video games because I have a theater background, and for me, video games is everything that I love about theater, without any of the things that I don't like about theater. And it's all the creativity and without as much time spent in a place, amongst other things. But for me, I have a formula for working in VO for video games, and it is attend conferences, like the Game Developers Conferences, specifically things with an audio track. So Game Developers Conference, Game Sound Con, AES. Attend the conferences, join organizations that have a network, like the Game Audio Network Guild. There's also a professionals only branch of the Game Audio Network Guild, or GANG for short. It's the Game Audio Network Guild Voice Actor Coalition, or GVAC for short. Wow. So I know, there's a lot. So organizations, yeah, I know, thank goodness. And then hang, like meet the people, find out who are the people who hire, find out the people who are in the position who hire, and hang out with them, get to know them, find out what their needs are, what their specific needs are, and just work and practice and work and practice and work and practice.
Hone your craft, study theater, talk a lot, get used to the sound of your own voice.
And play games. If you want to work in games, play games. It's amazing how many people are like, I want to work in games. Do you play games? No.
Then why would you even say that?
Do you want to work in movies but don't watch movies? Like, no. You gotta play games. You gotta understand what the iconic characters are. You have to understand like just understand the arc of a game, the formulas of a game, so you can add that to your delivery, your line delivery. So that's my formula. That's my formula for games.
Secret formula. So what's in your secret formula? What would you impart to eager young minds that want to be just like you?
Oh, geez, don't. I think that's genius. I would go to your workshop. I have done none of that. I am a naturally obsessive person, but my obsession is not on any, to my own surprise, it's in this career that spanned quite a while now. I'm a jack of many trades, and I feel like a master of none, which drives me nuts. But I can't get myself to pick one. I love theater. I think that sitting shoulder to shoulder with strangers in the dark, experiencing empathy, is one of the most powerful things that we can do as a society. I love playing video game characters because I've been a polar bear and several militant women and queen of the frickin' universe, and it allows me to get into pots that I wouldn't otherwise have access to, and I love it because it makes me work harder and work different. I love audiobooks because I get to play all the parts and read sometimes really beautiful stories and sometimes really powerful stories. We did one on Katrina that was about the emergency response, and I got smarter because I did it. And because I have so many different legs on my stool, I'm pretty well balanced as an artist, but I'm not a master. I don't go to conferences, and I don't hang out with really anybody unless I have to or I'm friends or related to them. I mean, you know this. I like, do I really have to leave my house? Okay, if you want, but I've got scotch at home. I don't need to leave my house. And I admire it because I do think that is the best way to get yourself out there. I have got myself out there because I did a play with Liam O'Brien, and Liam got me to start doing video games. And I did a play with an amazing actor named Rob Dean, who got me to start doing audiobooks. And it's just really kind, talented people who get me out of my house. That sounds so pathetic.
We all need a reason to get out of the house. And if it's doing voice work for video games, we thank you for doing so.
I love it.
Agreed.
The final question I want to ask is arguably one of the most popular questions from chat today. Really? I've been fed this question by a couple of people now, but I'm going to quote actually James Sith. I hope I'm saying that right, James. The path to the dark side leads to nothing but suffering. I'll give you that note right now. But James Sith wants to know. This is exactly what you would expect a Sith Lord to ask. Who voices Oryx? Pardon me.
Well. It's one of our sound designers.
Which one?
Would prefer to remain anonymous. Not me. It wasn't me.
Wasn't you?
Wasn't me.
But that was a member of the Bungie team.
A member of the Bungie team. It's done internally.
Stepped to the mic and got downright demonic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And was there an urge to? Were you thinking that was placeholder, and then you kept the placeholder, or like how do you decide to land on that?
Well, he's one of our sound designers and did a lot of the Taken and Hive sound design. So he didn't need help getting there, right? So he built it, put it straight into the game with it for us, and we just had to mix it, right?
Does he sound like that all the time?
No, it's surprising. He's a sweet guy, actually. Very quiet.
Yeah.
He's if you didn't walk in on him in his room, you wouldn't run into him because he's kind of I'm going to go in and make my sounds kind of guy. Yeah, so, but yeah, he did a great job, cool. I think. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're at the end of our show. This was a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming and visiting us in our space today.
Thank you for having us.
Once again, if you're watching at home, please thank Morla Gorondona, the voice of Eris Morn.
Hey, thanks.
And Kirsten Potter, the voice of the Queen of the Universe. May she forever reign.
May she,
Or
yes.
not.
Right, or
CJ Cowan from Bungie. C. Paul Johnson from Bungie. And of course, I'm Deej from Bungie. It's my pleasure to host you today. We will have another show just like this one next week. Clan Resolute, calling you out, putting a price on your heads. We're going to be talking about clans, why it's cool to be in clans, why we built Destiny with clans in mind, and then we're going to go play the ultimate team sport in Destiny. We're going to play some Rift. So we're looking forward to that conversation, and as promised, we are upstairs working on new things for you to do and new things for you to play, and in one of these shows coming very soon, we'll talk about all of what is yet to come. So hang in there. Bear with us because there's some exciting things coming your way, and those will be conversations that we have in the near future. So thanks again to our friends from Twitch for making us a brand new partner. Any of you who subscribed today and became a Vanguard, you just helped the Bungie Foundation do the amazing things that Christine talked about at the top of the show.
Thank you.
So we appreciate that more than we'll ever be able to vocalize. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, panel.
Thank you.
That's it. Join me and see.
Or cut.
Cut.